Hollis Frampton was an American experimental filmmaker whose career spanned from the early 1960s to the mid-80s. He was strongly associated with an avant-garde movement known as structural film, which drastically changed experimental cinema in the 60s and 70s. Ranging from hallucinogenic to tedious, structural film was about examining the formal aspects and physical qualities of cinema, and was much more analytical than the more emotion-based experimental works that preceded it. These filmmakers wanted the audience to be acutely aware of the fact they were watching a film. While Frampton's film career started in 1962, his earliest surviving work is the black and white abstract short titled Information from 1966. Like almost all of his films, it has no dialogue. In his 1967 short Heterodyne, we see multiple techniques that were common in Frampton's work and structural film in general. Frampton used something called film leader, which is film that is affixed to a reel to make projecting easier. It's normally not meant to be part of a movie, but here Frampton makes it the subject, analyzing the physical nature of celluloid. It also has a mathematically determined structure and strobing, both of which were hallmarks of structural film. 1968's Maxwell's Demon features a sound caused by perforations, which are holes in the film stock on either side that are used by the projector to move the film. The film also incorporates strobing. Furthermore, Maxwell's Demon exemplifies another structural film trademark, that of repetition, as it contains segments of pure color periodically on screen. It's repetition, but with variation, as is common in the movement, as Frampton gradually adds ocean waves to the shots of pure color. Repetition with variation can be seen in many of Frampton's shorts from the 60s, like Artificial Light, Carrots and Peas, and States. The title is a reference to the 19th century Scottish scientist James Clerk Maxwell, and many of Frampton's films had nods to the world of science. Frampton further explored the tangible qualities of film in 1969 with Palindrome, where he bypassed the camera entirely and used the wasted ends of a roll of processed film. An important early effort from Frampton is the silent short called Lemon from 1969. It is literally just a static shot of a lemon, with the only change being the movement of the light source. The lemon is slowly revealed and then cast back into shadow over 7 minutes. Similar to many structural films, the camera is locked off and does not move. Like another seminal structural film, Michael Snow's Wavelength, Lemon also focuses on one single aspect of filmmaking, namely lighting, as opposed to the zoom in Wavelength. Frampton's breakout came in 1970 with Zorns Lemma, which is an hour long and began as a series of photographs of New York City's signage. Frampton again utilized a systematically determined structure. Most of the shots are exactly 24 frames long, while 12 or 23 frames and 12 or 25. The main section features the photos of signs that begin with each letter in alphabetical order. However, it uses a Latin alphabet of only 24 letters, perhaps chosen to match the 24 frames in 1 second of film. Then Zorns Lemma goes through the alphabet again, with new words and gradually replacing each letter with a picture. Most of Frampton's work prior to this was silent, but this does have sound, including a reading from a medieval text. The film was influenced by imagist poet Ezra Pound, who Frampton had a long-running correspondence with. The title is a reference to Zorns Lemma, a proposition in set theory, and continues Frampton's trend of titles that are references to math or science. Following Zorns Lemma, Frampton started on his Hapax Legomena series, the first of which was Nostalgia from 1971. It consists of 12 shots of a photograph burning away, set to narration discussing not the image we are currently seeing, but the one we'll see next. A disconnect between image and soundtrack was prevalent in Frampton's work. His second Hapax Legomena installment, Poetic Justice, is nothing more than a table with a cactus, a cup of coffee, and a stack of papers that keeps getting bigger with each cut. The papers contain screenplay descriptions that are at times absurd or comical, and reference the viewer in the second person. Also, this is yet another Frampton work with a stationary camera. Another Frampton film that explores a disconnect between visual and audio is the third Hapax Legomena, Critical Mass. It was his first time using actors, and they play a couple having an argument. The unscripted argument itself is not that interesting, but it is edited in an unusual way, where little snippets repeat themselves over and over, leading to a sort of stuttering effect. It reminds me of, and was perhaps inspired by, the phasing effect used by avant-garde composer Steve Reich in works like It's Gonna Rain and Come Out. This is just scratching the surface, as Hollis Frampton has 72 credits as director on IMDb. Sadly, he passed away at the young age of 48 in 1984. Frampton was one of the key figures in structural film, and the movement left a legacy that permanently transformed experimental cinema. For decades, much of experimental cinema was either a continuation of or a response to structural film. Many of Frampton's films can be watched on YouTube or the Criterion streaming service. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.